The Vegas Golden Knights finished first in the Pacific this past season with only 95 points. Wouldn't have qualified in the Eastern Conference with that point total. But after bringing John Tortorella on to replace Bruce Cassidy in late March, the team wound up winning the division, beating Utah and Anaheim in 6 games, and sweeping the Colorado Avalanche route to the Cup Final, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes in 6 games. But within 48 hours, Neil, they are looking for a head coach.
Yes, something that surprised everyone. The Vegas Golden Knights and their general manager, Kelly McCrimmon, announced that John Tortorella would not be back. They wished him well. They said what a great job he had done, but they were ending the relationship, and it didn't seem to be mutual, because usually if it's mutual, they say in there that it's mutual. We'll have to wait to see if John gives any commentary at all.
Of all of the teams that we have done on the spring cleanings, this one is probably the most intriguing, because usually we do this in 3 tiers. We do the expectation, we do the reality of the season, and then we do the work ahead. But quite frankly, we're going to cut right to the chase here, because the expectation depends on what you are gauging. For Vegas, they're always going for that top spot. Indeed, they've made the Cup Final 3 times in their 9-year existence. In the regular season, they clearly underachieved, which is why they brought Torts on to finish the regular season and then have the playoff run that they did. So in terms of the regular season, they really didn't reach expectations in terms of being a 100-plus point team and regarded as a powerhouse. But where they landed in the playoffs and making it all the way to the Cup Final, they certainly did reach that expectation. It's a very interesting spot here.
You know, I think that people looked at this team in the summer and saw that Marner was going to be joining Jack Eichel and Pavel Dorofeyev, the young sniper, Mark Stone, one of the best captains in the league, and thought that, well, they're going to be really good. You got to watch out for them. Let's see what happens. Bruce Cassidy, their coach, had already won a Stanley Cup 3 years ago with this Vegas Golden Knights. So you expected for them to be competing for the top spot, at least in their division, if not playing with the heavyweights in the West. The heavyweights, of course, being Colorado and Dallas, and Winnipeg, we thought in the preseason, although that didn't turn out to be.
And Minnesota.
But, you know, I think they were a ways behind those 3. They were behind Winnipeg. They were behind Dallas. They were behind Colorado, at least in summer expectations.
Right.
It's odd. Tortorella came in and replaced Cassidy and went 7-0-1 in the regular season and had that great playoffs, but is not coming back. Now what's on the horizon for Vegas? It's sort of a mystery, isn't it? We don't know.
We don't. And usually in these spring cleanings, we run a bunch of stats on players and also the team performance, but it really doesn't apply here because of what happened during the regular season and then what happened during the course of the playoffs. So we're going to go right to the work ahead in terms of personnel for this Golden Knights team and what will Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee do. They have no first-round picks till 2028. They currently have only 14 picks total in the next 3 drafts. They are projected to be the oldest team in the NHL on July 1st. When free agency kicks in, their average age will be 31.2 years. They have 4 picks in this year's draft. None in the first round. That was part of a trade with Calgary and Philadelphia to acquire Noah Hanifin in March of 2024. Very complicated deal. We're not going to get into the minutia there. They have none in the second round because that was forfeited due to the media violation after the 6th and final game of the Anaheim series when Torts didn't speak to the press and the locker room was not open. And then they have none in the 4th round. That was sent to Washington to acquire Anthony Mantha in March of 2024. They have $4.63 million in cap space. That is very low because the league average is projected to be $23 to $25 million, with the bump up to $104 million this year, but they may get an additional $8.8 million if defenseman Alex Pietrangelo remains on long-term IR. So let's start there, Neil, because coming from your scouting background and the importance of the draft, this is a team that has always traded assets to win now. And perhaps at some point, the bill is going to have to be paid.
Well, I think so, but neither of us have a crystal ball, so we don't know when that's going to be. But with everybody else that trades to win now or makes moves to win now, you better win, because usually the check shows up at your table sooner or later, and you've got to pay it. It did for us with the Rangers. I mean, it took 4 more years after we won in 94, and we started to miss the playoffs in 98 and 99 and had to go into a rebuild. For the Vegas Golden Knights, you'd think they'd have to do that. Now, Mitch Marner's not old. Jack Eichel is not real old. And Dorofeyev, as I've already mentioned, the only drafted player on the team, is young. But you can't play in the NHL and be a competitive team with 3 players. And they're going to have to start to restock the shelves somehow.
So let's take a look at the UFAs and RFAs for this year. In terms of the unrestricted free agents, you're really looking at bottom 6 forwards and second and third pair defensemen. Up front, Riley Smith, Cole Smith, Colton Sissons, Brandon Saad. On the back line, Rasmus Andersson, Ben Hutton, Jeremy Lauzon, and Dylan Coghlan. I think the biggest question here is going to be Andersson, who, after being acquired and being paired up again with Hanifin, who we played with in Calgary, I wasn't overly impressed with him. And from what you saw, do you think that McCrimmon tries to hold on to him or lets him go?
I think he tries to hold on to him because he paid a pretty good price to get him. And I think he's going to give him more time to prove that he's worth that. He didn't play badly in the playoffs. He just didn't play good. That was my thoughts on Rasmus Andersson. I think they're going to want to keep Jeremy Lauzon, obviously. And I don't know about Riley Smith. He seemed to be the first man in when somebody came out of the lineup, so they may want to keep him. And, of course, they're going to do everything they can to keep Dorofeyev.
He is one of the 2 RFAs, goaltender Akira Schmid being the other, but now it appears that he is the third wheel, with Carter Hart, least under Torts, was the number 1, and Aiden Hill is under contract for several more years. But in terms of Dorofeyev, you've got less than $5 million of cap space. Maybe that goes up to a little over $13 million regarding Pietrangelo. But it's been reported out there that Dorofeyev could be a prime candidate for an offer sheet. And I would have to think, after all of these years with Vegas kind of thumbing their nose at the establishment, that somebody may step forward and pay him big bucks.
I would think that there will be somebody that would want to do that, but I don't think Vegas is going to let them do that, because I think Vegas is going to pay whatever they have to pay to keep him. Vegas doesn't lose very easily. They get what they want all the time. They may not win every year, but they want a player. They go hard after him, and I can't imagine that another team will outbid them.
Knowing the way that the Golden Knights do business, could you see if a team offers over $11.94 million, which is the threshold that the return is 4 first-round draft picks, could you see McCrimmon agreeing to that to start to stockpile picks again? Or do you think it's going to be business as usual? Because we have to remember that after this season, the salary cap goes up another $9 million or $9.5 million for the 27-28 season.
I think it's going to be business as usual. I don't think Kelly will all of a sudden start to get into collecting draft picks and trying to rebuild the team. I don't think they have any intention of slowing down in Vegas. They want to keep it going. 3 times in 9 years, only missed the playoffs 1 time in 9 years. I think they want to keep that record going.
Do you think this is a year with the cap again going up to $113.5 million next season, that if he can navigate through this year, He's got Mark Stone as captain, William Karlsson, Nick Dowd, and Carter Hart coming up as UFAs in 2027. Do you think kind of the mindset is, let's get through this year, let's assemble the best team as possible, and then we can start to do business more like we've done in past years?
I think so. I think you've pretty well nailed it there. I think that that's what they're going to do. All I know is that the history of the Vegas Golden Knights before Kelly McCrimmon was GM and then in the time that he's been GM is they set their sights on something and they usually get it.
And we're going to come full circle here because they're still looking now for a head coach. Ryan Craig, who is the head coach at their top AHL affiliate in Henderson, has been mentioned. For a team like this, they let Bruce Cassidy go. They bring Torts in for a quick fix. Do you bring in somebody with no NHL experience, or would you be looking for somebody more seasoned?
I think that bringing in the minor league coach with no NHL experience flies right in the face of what they've been doing these first 9 years. We'd have to go through who's available out there and start guessing at who they might talk to. But I don't think they're going to go with a rookie. There's no signal coming from there that they do anything in a building sense. They do it in a win right now mode.
Without names, what type of coach would you bring in if you're Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee?
I think a veteran coach that can push this group to get over the hump. I think that's what they'll be looking for again. They'll be looking for a guy that can push this team, that knows where all the buttons are and can get the most out of the team, and they'll stay in the playoff picture, in the first place run, and ultimately in the Stanley Cup competition.